Hey everybody, welcome to Hopeful Wisdom. So I am going to add our guest, Jordon Ferber. As soon as the guest is on, we're going to start the show. At this point, anyone who watches Hopeful Wisdom, I am not a technical person, okay? And I feel like at this point, technical issues are a part of the show. If only Facebook could make this a little bit easier for everybody. Okay. Yes.
I made it.
You made it!
Hooray! This
Ray, thanks
the
so much.
the system works.
The system works.
How are you?
I am good, thank God. How are you?
Oh, I'm trying my best. I'm staying indoors and following all the orders, and thank God my liquor store is open.
Right, because it is essential business. And in Michigan,
Serious.
God in heaven, all of the marijuana dispensaries are open. Praise God.
Also, my weed guys have all let me know that they are essential and they will essentially deliver anywhere. So they've come to me as well.
It's so good to know that during the pandemic that we don't have to sacrifice booze and weed, isn't it?
I mean,
It's
listen, if I'm going to be stuck inside talking to myself all day, I better have some interesting shit to say.
Me too. Me, I have to tell you, I mean, I'm homeschooling for the first time in Michigan.
Oh
So
boy. And you have twins, right?
I have twins. That is correct. So I am a homeschooler for the first time in my life, and I got to tell you, no disrespect to any of the people out there who homeschool your kids. I don't know how in the hell you do it. This is the hardest job, and I have a job. Like I'm officially cleared to go back to work today. Real estate opened in Michigan today, so
You
you know,
live you live in Michigan. I forgot about that.
yeah, I live in Detroit now,
Right.
so it's what can I say? I've been hitting the wine a little bit more often than I usually do.
Let me tell you.
Smoking an extra spliff in the evening just to take the edge off. It is difficult to homeschool.
Oh boy, I'll tell you. I'm sure I don't have children, so I'm not. I can't speak to that, but my heart goes out to you, and
Thank
I feel for you.
you. Ever have kids, put them in school. Don't even if like let it be
Oh.
a deal breaker. If you're on a date with a girl and she wants to homeschool the kids, be like, you're not for me.
I mean, I'd have to at least go through one of the classes just to, I'd have to audit at least,
Right.
you
Oh,
know,
it's so
check her credentials.
right. Right. Believe me, whatever I'm doing, I know that the teachers at my kids' school are doing a far better job than I am. That much I
Oh,
know for an absolute fact.
yeah, no,
For
no. I think we can all agree that teachers are probably the most underpaid public servants that our country has. They're not valued nearly enough,
they're not.
you
They're
know.
not.
And I dated a teacher for a while. I actually dated a special ed teacher for a number of years. Um,
That's
and, and I like to joke that it was sad when that ended, but I am reading at a higher level, so it's hard to.
she was able to teach you. Oh,
some of yeah.
good.
She took care of all of my special needs.
Right. Gosh. So thanks so much for being on the show. So this is really exciting. So you are actually
I know
not only
this is like our fourth time trying to connect. It's crazy.
I know
The,
it's crazy. I'm so glad we finally got a chance to do something together. And you're just so talented all over the place. And I really want you to know it's an honor. Thank you so much.
no, I'm happy to be here. I think it's great. I think that sometimes people come in and out of your life and you don't know why. Sometimes and what does this person fit with what I do, or do they fit? Finding some congruency in the chaos is, I think, part of the human experience.
Right. No, for sure. You know, and what I find so fascinating is just you're not only a career comic, which is just a huge accomplishment. I think people don't take seriously to like to be standing on stage for a paycheck is such a big deal that you also have a show, a podcast for in memory of your late brother.
Yes, I do.
And
Yeah. Not just for my late brother, but my podcast is called Where's the Grief? And I interview all sorts of other creative types who have experienced tragic loss of their own. And I try to give voice and platform for them to be able to acknowledge that loss and speak to a larger community than just from my experience.
right. So I guess give us a little bit of backstory. Tell us a little bit about you, where you're from, and kind of what segued you into comedy and or what segued, I mean, was it your late brother's name is Russell, right?
Correct. So
Correct.
yeah, I'm born and raised in New York City, Manhattan, and my brother and I were 3 years apart. I'm 3 years older, and he was on his way to becoming a pastry chef. He had a pretty I don't know. He had an amazing adolescence, I guess. But my brother was a very charming guy. He was friends with all the Knicks when he was in high school. He invited all the Knicks to his bar mitzvah.
That's so
Um,
awesome. Did they come?
Mike Saunders, the head, came to the ceremony. He was the lone Jewish person on the bench there. Their head trainer, Mike Saunders, and Jeff Van Gundy, who was an assistant coach at the time, sent a check for
That's so cool.
$100.
That's really awesome.
But my brother in 1995, he's actually in the 1995 Knicks yearbook on the page. It's one of the profile pages for a guy in the front office of the Knicks, a guy named Cal Ramsey, who was a former player and was a fundraiser for a lot of the nonprofits that the Knicks organization puts together. And he was a very respected guy in their front office. So it's a picture of him, Cal Ramsey, and Derek Harper.
Oh, wow.
And it's on Cal Ramsey's yearbook page of the 95 yearbook, which is kind of amazing that that's the case. So yeah, I feel like my brother lived more in 21. He died at 21. He was a socialite in the city. His best friend in high school was dating Paris Hilton. He had a business
Wow.
card at 13. My brother his business card said "the little man with the big mouth,"
Oh my goodness. That's
and
hilarious.
ultimately he dropped out of college. Didn't really know what he wanted to do. Decided he wanted to try to do cooking. Wanted to get into culinary, and fell in love with the culinary world, the pressure of being in the kitchen, and went to culinary school and was just and in particular fell in love with pastry. Really loved the science and the precision that went into to pastry. And he was just about to graduate with a degree from the Culinary Institute of America, upstate New York, with a pastry degree, when he was killed in a car accident over July 4th weekend in 2002. So it'll be 18 years this July that
Oh my.
he's been gone, but he's still still with me.
With
Still,
you every day.
yeah, he will
He's
still always be a part of my life. I will always still be his older brother, and I will continue to find ways to include him in my life. Um, and that was not an easy thing for me to come to. I started going to a support group pretty early on called the Compassionate Friends, TCF for short, and it's a national nonprofit self-help support group for people
wow.
who have lost a child, a grandchild, or a sibling. They have most of their support is for for people that have lost a child. It's mostly for the parents, but lucky for me, the Manhattan chapter in New York had a siblings group that I started going to, and it was sort of revelatory to me to be able to have a platform to talk about it, because as a comedian, I didn't feel like it was appropriate. I didn't feel like I had um, a lot of opportunity to talk about it on stage. Certainly, I couldn't make it funny for
There's nothing
myself.
funny
So
about it. Yeah. There's
no.
nothing fun about that. No.
you know so I started going to this group, and I did ultimately write a joke about going to the group. I tell people all the time I go to a support group for bereaved siblings, and That is a great sentence that you can use if you ever need to get out of a conversation. It's usually followed by me being alone with my thoughts again. So, um, but I found that just, being in that position of having people to talk about it with that stuff, and I found it very impactful to be able to talk about it in a normal way, to be able to have jokes about it and not put people off. And through that course of, comedians are a weird bunch. We're all sort of broken toys in some fashion. We all have our own shit that we've gone through, our own adversity that we've had to try to overcome or joke
Oh, yeah.
about, or yeah. So I found a kinship in the comedy community that I was already in, but I found an extra layer of it by being open, just off stage with other comedians
Right.
about the shit that I was going through, and in doing so, I gave them an unspoken permission to be open with me about some stuff they were going through, because I felt like I was a good listener, and it was just that dynamic of being able to be have that kind of a normal conversation about a difficult topic with a funny
Right.
person that was like, you know what, and once the podcast platform sort of took off, I'm like, this is I should do this. It feels important. It feels necessary,
It
and it
is.
and I think that once I started doing the interviews themselves, I realized that even if nobody else was listening, just the amount of new perspective that I gained on a thing that I thought I had some idea of was, really impactful. And I had to know that the person that I was interviewing got a lot out of it as well. That just being able to unburden themselves with those thoughts and feelings was, even if nobody else was listening, I knew it was worth continuing to do it. And I'm 5 years in and almost at episode 100 coming up. So
That's amazing. Good for you.
I feel
And
pretty good about it.
it's so important to give people a platform to express their feelings, especially when they go through traumatic loss. And I mean,
I
I
mean,
re-
just finding ways to normalize the conversation about it, to feel normal about it. I mean, we all deal with it. We're all going to lose people that we love. It's not, unless you don't love anybody, people you love are going to die. And so,
Correct.
we're not given a blueprint. Nobody tells you how to deal with it except, please don't bother me with yours. I feel like it's very hard to feel acknowledged, and because there's no blueprint for it, we end up getting on our own way. We shame ourselves, we judge ourselves for how we naturally do it. You know,
Right.
I as long as you're not hurting yourself, doing is great. As long as you still wake up to do it again tomorrow, hell of a job. That's all you can
So,
do.
you know what's funny, and I think that you might appreciate this. So, one of my best friends in the whole world from childhood, who lost his way to heroin, in October, it was the year. So he has it's almost been 2 years since his passing.
Mm.
And for those of you who don't know, I am intuitively gifted and I am also a medium. And when I started doing Hopeful Wisdom, my friend Dan was just a powerhouse of talent. He was smarter than me. He was more educated than I am. He just he really cared about the city of Detroit. He sat down with like mayors of different communities in the Detroit area, and he was just a powerhouse of talent. And he is one of the people when I decided to do this show, Hopeful Wisdom. I thought to myself, I'm doing one of the people I do it for is my friend Dan, because he really, you know, it wasn't until oh, I'm gonna cry. It wasn't until he died that I realized how much I meant to him,
Tissue.
because thank you, because I'm fortunate enough. My my mother always has paper towel. Um, but it wasn't until, you know, he passed away. Like, I feel like what people don't understand about those who are no longer living is that they're with us, and they love us, and they really are. It's part of their heaven to be with us. And I thought, I'm going to win, and I'm going to win for Dan, because from where he's at, to know one of the messages that came through um, was, and it was from him, and it was one of those where I'm just glad glass didn't start breaking. You know what do you think? What is crazy? Like he was about to come up and like damn near haunt this house. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
um, one of the messages that I received from him was, I didn't know how special you are. And for years I tried to, being intuitively gifted and being a medium, I don't think people understand. It's heavy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's only very recently that I learned how to deal with being able to communicate with those who are no longer alive. And it was funny today because I was thinking about you earlier today, and then I thought like Russell, and I thought, is Russell here? And I got a yes, and said to let you know that he loves you.
Well, I could have told you that.
I know, right? Yeah, he didn't give me lotto numbers. He didn't tell me when the shutdown was gonna end. But I think that it's like, as I've kind of grown into being more comfortable with this, I recently even started doing intuitive reading for people. Like, I guess you could say, I hate the word psychic, but I hate it. It's so creepy. And it's so creepy that it's the creepiest thing about me. It's just so
Ooh.
weird.
I think that might be a bold statement.
I mean, listen, I can honestly tell you, self-awareness. No, that is the fucking creepiest thing about my whole being.
I was just being funny, that's all.
I'm being serious. I'm like, no, it's so creepy.
Right.
But like, I had to learn recently when I started doing psychic readings for people that loved ones are coming through, and I just recently started to be like okay with it. And it used to petrify me. It just used to petrify me. You know, when you're a little kid and you tell your mom, no, I really do, I really do, I don't see dead people, but they talk to me. And it was something I like had to get over. It was mad. It was maddening for a while. So, but I think it's amazing how we do things for those that we love because they didn't get a chance to do them. And the amazing part is they are our advocates. They want to see us succeed more than we do. You know what I mean?
Right. Now that they've gotten rid of all that ego.
Right. Right. That's just it. What people don't understand is like heaven's a real place, and like there is no ego.
Yeah, hell's a real place too. It's usually Boca, right? I think.
Have you been to Miami recently?
Oh no.
I've been to Miami one time.
I
I
mean,
walked out and the humidity hit me in the face. I vomited in the parking lot, and I'm like, peace out, Miami. I don't need to be here no more.
yeah, listen, I used to go a long time ago when my grandparents lived down there. It's been a number of years since I've been to Florida. I actually went down there for, I was in Orlando about 3 years ago, but not Miami.
Did you go down there for a show?
I was there for the national conference of my bereavement of the Compassionate Friends, actually.
Oh, wow. So are you still a part of the bereavement group?
Yeah, for sure. I am the co-chapter leader of the Manhattan chapter for the last 4 years, and I've been running the sibling group that they have there for over a decade. And I've been doing meetings. I do meetings every Tuesday via Zoom with my group. And there's another guy that I know that does them every Thursday. I was just on a Zoom call just prior to this interview. So pretty much every Tuesday and Thursday, I'm involved on some sibling support groups. Handful of people are people that, more overwhelmingly, it's people that have lost people in the last 6 months or so who, just don't have anywhere to turn to and nowhere to, they're quarantined with their family and not even really able to talk to them about some of this stuff. So it's hard. And I find that, the guy that does them on Thursdays has actually been doing them since August of last year when he went to his first conference. So the group that I'm a part of, my group has a sibling group within it, but it's one of only a handful around the country. We have 700 chapters nationwide. The Compassionate Friends is all over the country. Less than 10% have an active sibling group within them. It's mostly for the parents, as I said. So this guy went to the conference last year and noticed the dearth of support for siblings and started doing these Zoom meetings in August, before this pandemic was even an inkling. So
Right.
there's been a lot of, and I've been, most of them are, it's only recently that they've become more focused on dealing with the grief stuff. From August until about January, they were more bullshitting sessions, happy hour type things. And then we talked about the grief stuff here and there, but it wasn't as laser focused as it is right now, because we need to have longer conversations in that community about that. So.
Well, sure. And I feel like with the shutdown, with just by default, people have more time in their thoughts. So I feel like it would be less time to kind of put your mind off of it. So I feel like having that extra Tuesday and Thursday support is probably very necessary right now.
I think so. I mean, it's been beneficial to me, if only to help tell what fucking day of the week it is.
Oh my God.
Is it Tuesday already? Shit, I gotta send out that link.
If my kids weren't in school or on Zoom school, which I'm not going to call it hell on earth, but that's the only reason I know what day it is.
Yeah. What are you drinking there, by the way?
Diet Dr. Pepper.
Oh, I hear that. I hear it tastes more like regular Diet Pepper than ever.
It does. More than ever. In fact, I'm in such a good mood. I'm going to go roll a spliff now.
Oh. I'm recording from my bedroom in the back. I have my my bong and everything in the other room. I don't know. Oh, no, I do have marijuana right here in this room. So I'm gonna.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, good. We're gonna smoke pot together. We never had a chance to smoke pot together. Isn't it terrible?
Let's see. What should I smoke? I have a variety. I have some. Yeah, I have some Maui Wowie. I have some stuff called pineapple upside down cake.
Is that anything like Pineapple Express?
I don't. It's all marketing. I don't really know. I think not. And what else do I have? I have forbidden fruit, and I have strawberry haze. I think we're gonna smoke some strawberry haze. That's what I'm gonna smoke. And that's because that's what Russell would want me to smoke, and that's why.
So this is fun. For those of you watching the show, roll with us. We're going to have our version of 420.
How many people are watching?
Right now, only 4, but...
Okay, because on my end it says 1. I'm like, what? It's probably nobody from my end watching yet.
No, so the good news is I've been trying to get all sorts of different types of people to share their story on the show, and I wanted to ask you for a while, yes, and I thought, well, I don't want to bother you, and then I thought, I bet if I asked him to be a guest on my show, he actually would, and I'm so grateful.
Well, like I said before, when you texted me today, when you sent me the message, I was like, yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun, and I enjoy I'm a big fan of irony and congruity, and random bump-ins type of thing. Like, I think the randomness of life is one of my favorite things, and I think that sometimes when you have those random thoughts, I should reach out to that person. You take a random thought and you make it like a specific and intentional action, and I love that.
My mind recently. You've definitely been on my mind recently.
Well, so I don't know. Oh shit, I'm out of papers on this one. Let me grab my papers. But the thing I wanted to say, the history that we have together is amusing to me, because I don't know how many people. I'm sure nobody that's listening knows exactly the history, because it's funny. First, we met you and I, when we matched on. Was it
Tinder?
Was it Tinder or Bumble? I don't remember.
Tinder.
It was Tinder.
Yeah, I was only on Bumble for a day.
Right. So we matched on Tinder, and we spoke on the phone, and life got in the way, and we never ended up actually being able to link up and have an actual date. That's my recollection anyway. You can tell me
Yeah,
if I'm wrong.
we never got the chance to really do anything, and I think it was our plan to like go to dinner or something, and
Yeah,
then it just never happened.
we made tentative plans, and then communication kind of fell about. You with you have twins, and I don't, so it was like scheduling was more of the issue than anything. And then kind of on the fringe of that, I have a second podcast that I do with my friend Jonathan
That's right. I totally forgot. I've been like, how is that
called.
going?
I have the second podcast called American Jew that my friend Jonathan and I do together, and we talk about American Judaism, and we also are both single Jewish men. And he told me, he said, "Hey, this Jewish matchmaker reached out to me, wants to be on our show and match us up with some nice Jewish girls." I was like, "Yes, perfect," and it was you.
Oh, it's so hard to find somebody nowadays. It's so hard. I have been like, I've been on all the sites, I've been staying positive, but I'm telling you, it's been so difficult to find just to meet somebody.
It's
And
tough. It's hard. I think even before the dating apps, in my opinion, the dating apps are not. They're not effective in doing anything besides giving the people that run them your email address and your information, and it just keeps you. They don't show you real matches unless you pay for the service, and it's all bullshit. To be perfectly honest, I always felt like I don't sell myself on paper. I'm better in person than I ever was on paper. Going back to like college, the joke I make about the correlation between those two things for me is that when I was applying for college, my test scores weren't great, but I nailed the oral interview, didn't I? Yes, I did.
we did. Hold on one second. Let me find one of my lighters.
But so I've always been better in person than I ever was. You know, I mean, you could tell by looking at me, I didn't win the face lottery, but
I didn't win the face lottery either. I have the gall not to be thin.
I mean, I think that's the thing. I mean, but that's the thing about all those dating apps is that like if you won the face lottery, that's why your profile is empty.
I'm no beauty queen, that's for sure.
Nah,
And
you got a good glow about you. I wouldn't have matched with you in the first place if I didn't see something in there.
it's very true. No, I always found you I found you attractive. Like I think you're an attractive man. I really do.
Oh, I'm not going to argue with you. I mean, if you
Hear all the silence, you know. But
yes. But I find it. I just think that it's a funny, a funny, perfect coincidence that we circled back.
I think so too. Oh, I found more weed. Um,
Yeah, and I was telling Jonathan that I was coming on your show tonight, and I told him I was like, definitely have to poke a little bit of fun that you were going to try to match us up with Jewish women, and it was only like a week after we started, or maybe 2 weeks, and we were both a little picky, and you were like, all right, you know what, this is too much work.
you know what? It's hard though. It's so hard. So hard. It's just so hard to meet people, and it's so hard to set people up.
Oh, I get it.
Um, it's really
Well,
difficult.
you know, I just think it to me I wouldn't be able to have had this conversation without bringing that up. It's just too funny to me.
No, I tried. I really tried. It was hard to network with girls, because so many of the girls that I know are Orthodox Jews.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, I hate to call them girls. We're north of 35. All the women I found were like either religious. I am right now. I was telling my mom today, myself and one other friend. I have one single girlfriend now.
Oy,
It's
oy,
just
oy.
it's just the two of us. Yeah.
How many kids does she have? I'm
I mean,
sorry. I'm
she's
sorry.
30 years. She's a girlfriend of mine in her 50s. So I think she has like three or four.
Not bad.
And her kids are a little bit younger than me, but
All
she's
right.
a young something.
Huh? Pretty
She's
good.
a young Oh, very good.
Nice.
My rolling. Do you see the lipstick stains on my?
Yeah, you gotta. You're putting it in your mouth a little high, maybe. that
I've never.
lipstick looks a little high on the on the joint.
It
How
is. And
how far are you putting that into your mouth? Is what I was.
do you make a filter?
I did put a filter in. Yeah,
You did.
yeah.
Oh, good.
I bet you can see from my right here
Helpful.
from.
Yeah, I'm a zigzag roller. The orange zigzags and the orange
I'm a bamboo guy actually all the way. I'm a bamboo guy. My friend Sarah, her family owns bamboo, and I used to get free bamboo papers for a long time until she moved to Miami and got out of the business. But I'm still a bamboo guy.
right. When I lived in Brooklyn, I was a bamboo person.
Mm.
You can't get bamboo in Michigan.
Mm?
Mm-mm. Can't get it.
That is a shame. You know, I'll put a if I have any pull, I'll put a call in.
Yeah, tell her it's ridiculous that I was forced to go back to zigzag.
Seriously, you know,
How am I supposed to live like this?
they won't let them deliver bamboo papers to Michigan. What are they fucking putting in the water in Michigan?
Bunch of bullshit. Talk about the Jewish podcast. What is the
Mm.
name of the Jewish podcast again?
So it's called American Jew. Jonathan and my friend Jonathan Randall and I were both comedians in New York. Jonathan was raised somewhat Orthodox in Miami, and has since become pretty much an atheist. And I was raised very Reform in New York, and I would say I would class myself as an agnostic. I don't go to temple. I don't really believe in any organized religion. But we both still have a very strong connection to our Jewish cultural heritage, to the
Right.
community aspect of it, to the not just the food, but the food helps. Um, I think we both have an appreciation for the ways in which the family life is presented in Jewish culture, and the way that we it it's our beginnings. So we both have a lot of. I think we both identify as Jews, despite what we might put on our census forms.
Yeah, no, both of you were like pretty clear to me that you're looking for a Jewish girl. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you're definitely that you guys seem to be pretty committed to marrying Jewish.
I mean, I'm actually not that committed. Like my last serious girlfriend that I was with for 5 years was a black girl from Virginia, not at all Jewish, but willing to convert. Not that I wanted her to, but she was, you know, it wasn't, the religion part wasn't an issue for us, but it was a point of, I don't know. It was never a problem with my family. My mother told me very early on that it wasn't an issue. I remember a family friend asked my mother, he's dating a black girl. She's not Jewish. Doesn't that bother you? My mother said, if she makes him happy, what is there to complain about? That's all there is to it. And I like to think about that in the larger scale. I would like to marry. Obviously, I think I would like to marry a Jewish woman as well. Um, with the same values and whatnot. But at the same time, I'm not. It's not a deal breaker if she's not, because I don't like to look at the notion of cutting out all these other possibilities. You know,
Right.
it's possible to be with somebody that has a different view that still respects my views, and and we can still come to an agreement on how to raise our own children in a way that respects both sides. Because I know people that have done. I have a cousin who's Jewish and his wife is not, and they've incorporated both um,
Oh,
into the way that they've raised their kids. And none of them is 13 yet. I don't think there's going to, but I'm pretty sure they're not going to be bar mitzvah. Who knows? But anyway, I just know that it's possible to respect both sides without, you know, it being one way. I think that it's more. I think it's progressive to think that way anyway, or at least I like to think that way without having put my own feet to the fire on it, because I don't have any of my own children yet, and I'm not married, so it's easy for me to say that shit from the experience that I've had. But
right.
that's what I like to think.
So for me, I'm more modern Orthodox. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I've just found it to be like the types of guys that I've been dating recently, they're good guys, but like, for example, my dating profile, like, dude, you couldn't, there's nothing to misunderstand on my dating profile that I'm looking for marriage, I'm looking to build family, and I'm looking for like a religious or like, here's the thing. If someone isn't Orthodox today, I'm okay with that. As long as they're willing to keep like the big three, I'm cool.
What are
But
the
they
big
have
three?
the big three: Shabbat, kosher, and family, and the laws of Nida. Like I wouldn't keep. I don't know if I wouldn't pass my husband the salt shaker, but I definitely would use the mikvah. And I don't know if I would cover my hair. I mean, I wear hats almost all the time, so I feel like I cover my hair by default because I just like hats. But I don't know if I would cover my hair or anything like that. But I found that like a couple of the guys, like I don't know if it's my profile pictures are good or like what's going on, but like one guy I met over quarantine, really good guy from Amsterdam. We spoke for about a week. Everything was great. And drops a bomb on me. He doesn't want to get married. And it's like, well then dude, what are you talking to me for if you don't want to get married? And the next guy,
You know, that's the thing too. I think a lot of us are ashamed or afraid to be honest and truthful and open up front about what it is we're actually looking for.
right,
And I think, it's so hard to get to a place where especially for men. Men are very bad at obeying our own deal breaker lines in the sand. If you say I don't want this, yeah, but I'll blow you. All right, I'll be there. So the most men will ignore their own deal breakers and their own list of must haves until
right,
after they've gotten laid, and so it's very we stand in our own way as well in that scenario as well. And I think that so to a certain degree, I think everybody is a little bit too particular about what they want before it's in front of them. You don't know what really drives you until you have it. I don't think you can say you want A, B, and C, but then you have A,
right.
B, and C, and what is it? Sometimes I think the unknown is more exciting. I think having somebody that respects and understands what your needs are, but also helps to show you different things and help evolve the way you think and what you need. You don't want somebody that's going to be dishonest about what they want, but I think
Mm,
ultimately we should all be more honest about the fact that we really don't know what we're attracted to until we're presented with it. I think um, and it's okay. I think to take that position. You don't have to go into every relationship knowing that this person. This is not you know. That's my opinion anyway. This is my opinion, but I just think that relationships are hard, and in some cases it's because we put higher expectations on somebody before we've even met them
Right.
of what they should be. The people that have planned their wedding from their 12 years old without any input from the person they're going to be getting married to, is such a short-sighted and I think unrealistic way of creating a union.
Right.
If you've planned your wedding without the groom for your entire life, and when that man shows up and he has any disagreement about the way you've planned it without him, I don't understand that. That why you would be upset by that. You need to, if you want a partnership, you
Got
need that. You need a partnership. This is not. I think that's also why so many men take the attitude of, well, I don't care, whatever you want, because you've been planning it for 20 years. I've only been planning it for a year with you as a partner. I didn't. I haven't even picked out my tie yet. You already have the whole seating chart done and who's not allowed and whatever you want. So I think that there are unrealistic expectations on both sides of what a real relationship means. Men don't care about any of it until the physical part you know until you have a sense of what the physical chemistry is.
right.
And women don't want to get to the physical chemistry until you've agreed to their terms and conditions on how the wedding is going to go.
Right.
Conceptually, I'm taking it to the very extremes, but I really think that we both need to be a little bit more understanding about what the ways that we the dance of attraction, the courting process. You don't have to have sex with somebody to understand what the physical chemistry is, to feel the
Right.
tension, to feel that desire and not give into it, specifically if that's what you believe. But understand that the other person, if you told them, hey, let's do it right now, they might say yes. You never know.
Right.
But I think it is good to build that anticipation and if you really do feel like you're making a real go at this, without knowing too much, just knowing the basics. But I don't have a problem going out on many dates with somebody before things get to a sexual level, but they have to escalate accordingly, and I think that the physical chemistry has to be there. Uh, there's no other way. I don't see why you would want to be with somebody that doesn't, make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. Why? You know what I'm saying?
So, are you familiar at all with shidduch dating?
No.
Okay. So, shidduch dating is basically when
I mean, I've been on a lot of dates where I felt shit out of luck. Is that?
I mean, sometimes shidduch dating can make you feel like you're shit out of luck. I can tell you that much. But
Did I hit the nail too hard on the head?
part on the head, yes. I got to tell you, sometimes it's ooh. But basically, it's when two people, and usually like shidduch is a match. Shidduch is the Yiddish word for match.
Okay.
And
Where does
when
it
you're
fall in relation to Bashert?
okay, so your basheret is your soulmate.
Okay.
It's the person in the world that God has put for you. It's your basheret. And this is what everybody, in my opinion, should be hoping to find and praying to find. Your highest level of soulmate, which is your basheret, which is the other half of your soul. Um, so when you're shidduch dating, you're dating with the intention to get married, and it's understood by both parties walking through the door that you're almost like going on an interview to see if we have compatibility. And especially at a certain age, I feel like everybody should be doing this because when you cover the ground very quickly of are we on the same page, it filters out a lot of people who are here to just waste your time or people who are excellent people who are just not for you. So, I mean, I've found recently that like the people that I've met are great people, just not for me, but we're going into the conversation basically on the same page that we're both looking for a spouse. And the dating process in a shidduch situation, it's different from arranged marriage. Nobody but the Hasidim do the arranged marriages anymore. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Hmm.
But it's putting focus towards you're trying to build family, you're trying to be, together in a community. And it really does weed out a lot of the people that are just not for you. Because let's say you have a very strong connection with somebody. You go on a couple of dates, you have some drinks, you're holding hands, whatever. You know, before someone would get that from me in a date, I would have to know going in that we're at least remotely on the same page where we want the same things out of life. So like the last two people that I guess you could say dated while in quarantine, one was in Amsterdam and the other was in Belgium. And we had the guy in Belgium. Now this pisses me right off. We had two great conversations and we had plans to speak again. Truly thought, and like, here's the thing. So I'm talking to him for the first time I'm talking to him. I'm, I'm introducing myself. And he said, tell me about your talk show, Hopeful Wisdom. And I said, well, we talk a lot about Jewish spirituality and mysticism, et cetera, et cetera. I'm a psychic medium. And so during that conversation, I was able to pick up a lot of things about him. And like, for example, I was able to bring him a message from his late father of blessed memory. I could tell him all about his brother. Um, the second conversation, we kind of talked more about kids and families and things like that, but great conversation where we had like exited the conversation planning to speak again and started even talking in the second conversation about like maybe travel. Sends me a text message. He doesn't see himself settling down with someone with kids. Where in the FUCK is your self-awareness? If you know you're not going to be able to date someone with children, what's the point of even trying to get to know somebody who has children?
Well, I'll tell you this right now. I will say this for sure. Maybe that's exactly what he was. But if I would say most men, probably. I would say that's an easy. He gave himself an easy out on that one, because if he really wanted to be in that relationship, he would have been able to overcome any feelings on that matter. If he, and especially if they have any feelings for a woman, you would want to try to meet their kids before you would say something like that at all. I would
Right?
think if you're in that, he'd rather be the asshole than be specific about why he's the asshole.
Can I tell you what I honestly think it is?
But no, but I'll tell you this for sure. Like, did you meet him in person?
No, because it was over quarantine.
Right. So I don't. I am not of the opinion that you can really tell a lot about any way a relationship is going to go until you're meeting in person. I don't think you can. People can talk all they want over like this. You can't. It's the body language and the energy. Being in the physical space with somebody is so much different than talking to them over a thing. The energy you get from them physically is palpable from people. They put off an energy. So I don't think I find it very difficult to gauge what because I like to talk on, if I match with somebody on a thing, I talk to them on the phone before I meet them in person also. I want to see how they
That's
relate as
smart.
a person. No, but not just because I don't want to, have those conversations. I think it's important to have a conversation, so that when I'm meeting you in person, you already know my sound of my voice. Like I'm not a, you're there's a comfortability a little bit with the way that we've already interacted. We have an understanding of how we interact with each other a little bit. And there's flirtiness. There's a flirty banter. There's an excitement in the way that we're communicating. It's that dance,
Right.
I think part of the downfall. The reason I say some of these dating apps are awful is that putting that list of your do's and don'ts and wants and needs is it's unnecessary, and it's somewhat disingenuous because nobody reads them to some degree, and it's and too many people, I think, on both sides, men and women, are willing to overlook some of the things that are on that list if they really feel a strong physical chemistry with the person. When you get into, sometimes there's that magnetism that, even though you know it's not the right relationship, it's like, but I can't stop fucking this person, So like, so I'm just saying. So I think that energy is there when you are meeting that person for the very first time, whether or not you're. But I think that you have to have that spark has to be there if it's going to be for real.
Right.
And I don't think you can get it over. I haven't had any. I've had zero Zoom or FaceTime dates in this quarantine. I've talked to a couple of
Really?
girls. Yeah, I've talked to a couple of girls on the phone, but I never took it any further because it didn't feel like I felt like I was making all the initiations, and it's like, if you care as much as I do, I don't. You're texting me as once a week. Also, I'm just not gonna. Why am I texting you once a week?
No, and I see that's not cool. I don't like that. I
Yeah,
really don't like that.
but
Like,
also I don't. But I don't let it bother me. Like, it's just whatever. I don't. So that's the thing. I and I just know that nothing's going to come of anything until I meet somebody in person. This quarantine thing is going to go as long as it's going to go, and who the fuck knows? I don't
right.
know. I'm like, I don't know if I told you, I got a PlayStation 4. So, the adolescent in me can waste its time. I've been playing a lot of the Spider-Man game, which you can just, wander around New York City unfettered. You actually help the police. They're happy to see you. Well, the other day I spent 45 minutes just walking around Washington Square Park as Spider-Man in the game. Only took an hour for somebody to offer me weed.
That's
It,
hysterical. So wait, no,
it
someone
was
offer
it
you.
was it, it was my roommate, but still.
Oh, okay.
uh,
Um, do you think also though? Do you think an issue in secular dating, because in religious dating, you're likely not having sex until you're married. Um, in secular dating, do you feel like sex too soon? I feel like sex too soon creates feelings that if you get to know somebody otherwise wouldn't be there.
um, I don't know. It depends on how on the scenario. I think I can't speak for any other men. I can only speak for myself.
Hmm.
Um, and I know for myself that the the last serious, like, if I go, the last like three serious relationships I've been in, two of them I slept with on the first date, and the one was made me wait till the third.
Okay.
Um, but
Were they serious relationships?
but it had gotten but we were somewhat physical. There was a lot. There was the chemistry was there. We made out, and there was the second date escalated, and there was do you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like it felt natural the way it happened, and I didn't mind it in any case. I don't think I pushed it in any one case either. It just happened naturally in the way that we got caught up in a moment,
Right.
and you know I one of them told me afterwards that she had gone into that first date steeled against the fact of having sex, but had just kind of.
And was that the one you were with for 5 years?
No, the 5 years was the 3 dates.
Okay. How long were you with this girl?
With that one,
Yeah.
that one was much shorter. That one was probably only a few months.
Okay.
But that
So
but not, but not by whatever. And to be fair, actually, also the other girl, it was also probably maybe the
Okay.
second or yeah, probably the second date that we slept together, and that was um, we were together for like 2.5 years.
So what what are like what are you looking for? Like what would like what are you I mean I know that you're open you are open to getting married, right?
Yeah,
So in your mind, what who is your wife in your mind? Not it doesn't have to be a famous person. I'm just saying,
no, not it's not a famous. That's not at all. I hope not. I don't know. I feel like part of what I was talking about before is that like I feel like I don't. I want somebody that has a very strong personality and their own um, shit going on. You know, like
right,
I want somebody that has a personality that I'm as enamored with as they are with mine. You know, I want to have somebody that I can match with on that. You know, I want to be. I like a good verbal sparring. You know, a good banter. I like that kind of back and forth. Um, and my all of the women in my family are very outspoken. You know,
right,
I love being able to as somebody that's I'm a comedian, whatever. I'm rather outspoken on my own, but I love being able to take a back seat to somebody else and be like, yeah, see, that's my
right,
lady. You know, that's can this is could you obviously this is the person that I'm with.
right,
So but at the same time, I also like somebody that calls me on my shit and is sort of a yin to my yang. You know, that doesn't have to be the same uh, um, expression and need behind the way they do that, but that I have.
right,
I just I think communication is really key, and I crave direct openness, which is I hope what I give off as well. But
right,
I do my best, and I obviously you gotta be able to laugh at yourself. I think being able to laugh at yourself is a key component of life.
right.
We are easily this. I'm easily one of the stupidest people I know because I know myself way better than I know anybody else. Yeah,
Right,
so uh, only and all the stupidest shit that I do, I don't tell anybody, obviously, but I
right,
but I know it.
right. Oh, I've done listen, I've done plenty of fucked up things.
Yeah.
It took me a long time. When you and I met, I was going through some serious stuff. I was diagnosed with anorexia, which you can't tell now, but I was literally starving to death and like whacked out on Adderall.
Oh man.
So, and I was making terrible decisions. And here's the funny part. Here's the funny part.
Please.
Matchmaking, matchmaking was my job, all right? At this point, I would give people excellent advice on how to find someone, and they would take it, and or I would set them up, and they would go, and even if it wasn't for them, it was giving them like a sample of what they would need in a partner. Like for example, there's a man and a woman now who are married to separate people that they went out with each other, and both of them married very similar individuals to the ones that I set them up with.
Okay.
And
But not the ones you set them up with.
not the ones I set them up with, but it was like a sample good date. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where they could actually like, you know, get an idea of what they needed.
Right.
And then
People who viewed this also viewed.
right, exactly. Exactly. Um, I realized that I was going into dating situations not being myself, you know, getting physical with someone sooner than really I should. And it was taking an emotional toll on me. And I had to learn the hard way. And when I decided, you know, when I decided to move back to Detroit, I made the decision, you know what? For years, I've given people excellent advice. I'm going to start taking that advice. And now I basically take my own advice. And even though the people that I've met haven't been for me, I have to say they've been very good people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They've been very, very good people. And
Should I roll another joint? What time is it?
10, it's 10:09.
All right. I should. That's a
I
yes.
felt like, I just wasn't,
10 of 10 then.
I just wasn't, I wasn't in a well place. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, so like going back to what I said before, I think I, I think the best way that I'm going to find somebody, in my opinion, is just to continue being the best version of myself and putting myself out there in the ways that I've been and getting better at doing so. And eventually I will meet somebody that's doing the similar thing, a similar thing for herself where she's putting herself out. I think, I don't know about, I think matchmaking has its merits, but I think at the end of the day, the way that you uh, um, it's the way you naturally meet people. I think it can still apply, and I think that matchmaking is one of those like professions that continues because nobody knows what the hell love is and how to find people. We have a hard time figuring all that out for ourselves.
right,
And back in the day, all the arranged stuff, just took all the hardships out of it. This is the person you're marrying, or if you happen to find somebody that you were attracted to that you had sex with, well, there you go, that's who you're marrying. It was uh, I think the ways that society has changed so much over time, like I said, I would I would prefer to. I don't necessarily even think that the person I would marry needs to be Jewish. I'm not married to the idea of it being a Jewish person. I think that as long as I don't know, I feel like I will know that the person is the person. I don't know. It's one of those things. The energy has to be there.
right. Now, I mean, would you, let's say, would it make you happy if the person were to convert? Or are you just not at that place?
It wouldn't make a difference to me, if they wanted to convert to be able to do it for the children. That would be fine. It would be a conversation that we would have. I'm not, but I don't have to make that decision right now without that person.
Right.
And that's, you know what I mean? Like, that's where I'm at. Like,
So,
I mean, I'm 42 years old, it's not like, I'm 42 years old. My brother died. I've lived almost half my life without him. I'm a comedian nobody's heard of. Things haven't worked out the way I hoped, but I'm doing the best I fucking can, and I'm enjoying where I'm at. I'm happy with the path that I'm on. I'm hopeful that I find somebody that is as dedicated to the path that they're on, that I am. That they are their own person, and that we can uh, join forces in the passions that we feel. I don't know. I just know that I haven't been able to make concrete plans in my life that have worked out in such a way that I'm like, yeah, I'm really good at making fucking plans. This is what I
right.
want. You know what? Too fucking bad. So this is where I'm at. My entire life, any plan I ever had for my life included a lot of things that I don't have a choice about. So I can
Right.
only I have to take what's given to me. I have to look at what's in front of me and decide, is this something that I embrace, or is this something that I just have to endure? Is this a person that I want to have in my circle, or is this somebody that, you know, are you worthy of being in the circle? And if you're worthy of being in the circle, I don't know. I don't. I find that it's a lot of hard stuff to deal with sometimes for me. I don't let a lot of people into the circle that
Right.
easily.
No,
Um,
I let a lot of people into the circle all that easily.
and I find also that the people that I want to let into the circle are a lot of times a little freaked out by how enthusiastically I'm doing so. You know, they don't. It's too much for them. So I don't. You know, but I don't. I can't make a must-have list of a person. Just
No.
that's it's not realistic. I don't find it to be realistic in my life. In my life, it's not realistic for me to make those types of demands on the world, because that's just not how the world works for me.
Right.
The world does not allow me certain choices, and but I can make certain choices when they are presented, and only when they're presented. I can't make those choices before they're presented.
Right. Oh, I hear that. Have some red wine.
Looks like some rosé.
It is a pomegranate wine.
Ooh.
Delicious. And then I mixed it with grape juice to give it like more of a like a grape juice taste. Let's see, do I have any seltzer to make a spritzer? No.
You know what I like? I like a. I just rolled another really nice joint. Come on now, check it. Huh? Come on now. I had friends
That's
of mine.
amazing.
There were a couple of friends of mine that tuned in that said they were watching. My friend Chris and my buddy Dave. I don't know if they said they joined. It still only says one person's watching on my end. I don't know how many people are watching on your end.
Two.
Two. Do you know who they are?
I do not. It doesn't let me see.
Will they tell you if you say, hey, who's watching? Say hello. Please tell
Who's
us.
watching? Say hello.
Yeah, motherfucker, say something. Let us know you're watching. Don't be ashamed.
Hold on 1 second. Let me get back in my bedroom.
Oof. But so anyway, I mean that's really the thing that I'm talking about. Is that Chris? Who's those I got like a thumbs up and a love thing, but I don't know who it was from. It looked like maybe Chris. I couldn't tell from the picture. That I'm on my phone, so the thumbnail was like really small. All right. Oh, Vince, there you go.
Hey, Vincent.
Vincent's the best. He and his partner Marty are some of the best people I know.
Oh, that's so great.
Good peoples. Well, you know, so that's really where I'm at in that. I think that's why I feel like the quarantine thing. You know, my one of my best friends is just like he's just like texting me, complaining all the time. He's like, Jordy, I don't think I'm ever going to get laid again. And I was like, well, that's not an optimistic way to look at it. You know.
Oh, I wonder if I'm ever going to have somebody again. It's been
Yeah.
years. It's been so long since I've had somebody. I hope the kids are still doing. I shouldn't say the kids. I hope it's still done the way I remember. Let's just put it like that. You know what I mean? I hope nothing new has happened in sex. You know
Well, you
what I
know,
mean?
it's the old, you know, it reminds me of an old Rodney Dangerfield joke, which is, remember, the best thing about kids is making them.
So
Not a big Rodney fan, huh?
I watched his soccer movie when I was little.
That's not that he didn't write that. He did not meet. We meet Wally Sparks was a paycheck. Everything. Yeah, that's not. You can't judge Rodney from Meet Wally Sparks. Are you kidding? Stop it already.
No, but I never really got into him so much as the comic.
You
I remember
you see Caddyshack? Back to School?
in Caddyshack or back. No. What year did those movies come out in?
They're in the 80s. There's three movies. Caddyshack, 1980. Easy Money, I think it might even be before that. There's Easy Money, Caddyshack, and Back to School. Back to School is like 85, I think. You should watch Back to School. Back to School is a fucking great movie.
Okay.
Yeah, trust me. Back to
But wait
School.
a minute. Does he play a teacher in that?
No, he goes back to school.
Okay. I'm thinking of a different movie then. Okay. Um,
I know who you are, Vincent. I know who the fuck you are. Come on now. Like we didn't just have a conversation on the phone like a week ago. I know who you is. You come on, stop it already.
so how has like this quarantine sucker punched comedy? Or like are like what are the people? So like the career comedians, the ones who make their living doing stand up, what are they doing for money now? I'm saying not just you, everybody. Like what are they doing?
I mean, who knows? I mean, I applied for unemployment. It got approved. I still haven't gotten a person on the phone that can tell me when I'm getting a fucking check or a card or a thing. I don't know. I don't know. It's thank God that I was in one episode of a TV show 2 years ago that is still running, so that I got a $600 residual check
Nice.
just before this pandemic. That helped. That took care of my some of my bills. But I don't know. I'm not making any money right now. I'm trying to figure out how to monetize my podcast. I think if I'm not going to be making any money with comedy, I might as well start working on making money with the tragedy. Am I right?
Right. No, I hear you. I mean, I'll tell you the truth. That's what prompted me to say, you know what? Like, I was born psychically gifted. I might as well start training to do this for a living. And
Yeah.
my long-term goal is to do cold cases to help find missing people.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So that's like the long-term goal. But I figured, I feel like I've always had to make my paycheck creatively. You know what I mean? Like I owned a
But
wig business for 10 years. I'm in real estate now, so if you want to get technical, I'm technically my own boss. I mean, I have a broker, but I set my own hours and what have you. Yeah, and I with this pandemic, I just said, you know what? Maybe it's time that I start honing this God-given skill to start helping people, find clarity and prioritize their lives on a level where, really, if you're working with someone who truly is intuitively gifted, you can knock out a lot of issues that could take somebody years of therapy. So, I mean, or at least give them the clarity on what the core of the issues are, so they can start managing it and resolving it in therapy. You
right.
know what I mean? So I've been going through the training of that, and it's been intense because I've always I've always until recently I've always doubted myself. You know what I mean? And I've all like every psychiatrist, not every, I've only had a few psychiatrists and psychologists, but every therapist that I've had, I've always said, well, what's the difference between what I have and schizophrenia? Well, schizophrenia doesn't predict the future. Schizophrenia doesn't give you, you know, messages from people who have passed away. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's been kind of like putting to bed a
You
lot
know,
of doubt.
schizophrenia means never having to ask a second opinion. Huh? Come on now. But bump.
It's scary though. You know
I
what I
know.
mean?
I don't mean to make light of it. I was just making the. I was just making light of it. Is all.
Just so what do you, like, how long do you think this, so our governor just basically extended the shutdown until May 28th. How are you dealing with all this shit? Like, what
Yeah, I
are,
mean, New York is even crazier. I mean, I don't know if they've extended it, but it was already extended to May 15th, and I'm pretty sure they're going to extend it to the end of the month. I mean, I don't know. I'm not making long-term plans. I was supposed to have, my family started a foundation in memory of my brother. We do a
right?
big we do a big fundraiser for it every year. This coming summer was going to be our 15th annual fundraiser, and we're still trying to figure out what we're going to do. It's usually the end of June. We already had I already had the fly. I literally already had the flyers made. I spent the time and the money to make the fucking invitations that I hand out to people. I have the fucking flyers. And it's not going to happen in person the way we thought it was. So we're still working out whether or not we're going to postpone it to sometime in the fall. I think we might do something virtually anyway or around the date that we already done. Trying to figure that all out now. I have 15 years worth of video from the past events, so I can put together a highlight reel, edit together something. But that's also going to take a lot of time to do, and I don't know. I've got to figure out exactly what I'm going to do and how we're going to do it. But
So do you
um,
raise money for your bereavement group?
do I be funny for them?
No, no, no. Do you raise money when you do that, when you do the annual fundraiser in your brother's memory? Is
Oh
it for
no,
the,
no, no, no. So my family, we started, as I said, we started a foundation in his memory. So he was, as I said, he was a pastry chef. He was about to graduate. So we have a full 2-year scholarship in the pastry and baking arts program at the Culinary Institute.
wow.
It's through another nonprofit called CCAP Careers through the Culinary Arts Program, which has a whole lot of different scholarships that are um, they fast track kids out of high school that are in public schools that have culinary programs who want to go to a culinary school instead of a traditional 4-year college, and they compete for these different scholarships. So it's 100% merit based scholarship. We don't
Wow.
pick them. They go to this competition, and based on how they do in the competition and how what their top 3 choices of what scholarship they want is what they get. And it's it's a very competitive program, but once you get in, this CCAP is an amazing organization. They provide lifetime career support for their kids. They really do great things, and so we're really proud to be able to be associated with them. But even though we
Oh,
provide all the
wow.
money for the scholarship, it's just through their program, so we don't have to worry about how the money is distributed. We raise the money, we give it to them,
And then
and
they make a
and they
decision.
dispense it. We're also building an endowed scholarship at the Culinary Institute of America as well, which will at some point be self-sustaining. And we have a fund at the elementary school that my brother and I both went to that helps kids with learning differences and pays for um, outside tutoring and also for extra, like shuttling home by Uber or by taxi to kids whose families can't necessarily afford that if the bus after uh, um, sporting events isn't won't take them back to the outer boroughs. And that's the school that Russell and I both went to for elementary school. So we have a fund there, and that's where we hold the event every year, usually, which is which is always a comedy show that I host. Over the years, I've had 42 different comedians on the fundraiser because I've never repeated anybody. We have
Who's the biggest
usually.
time you performed?
I mean, if you go to our website, russellferberfoundation.org, and go to um, this year's event or our comics, there's a full list of all the comics I've had every year. But let's see, who have I had? Last year, who did I have last year? I don't even remember now. It was Ross Bennett, uh, Ali Breen, and who the hell is my headliner? Um, Shit, I don't remember who my headliner was last year. Norlex Belma. Norlex Belma was my headliner last year.
Okay.
Year, year before that was our 13th year, which was the bar mitzvah year. So all the all of our flyers were made up. I used pictures from Russell's bar mitzvah to promote it, and promoted it like our bar mitzvah. So I went with an all Jewish lineup. I had Ophira Eisenberg, who's on Wait Wait Don't Tell Me on NPR.
Okay.
And I had my friend Elon Altman, very funny New York comic. And who was my headliner that year? John Fish. John Fish, really good. But
Okay.
but the year before that, I had Gary Gulman, also a well known guy.
Bell.
I've had Dan Natterman. I've had Jessica Kirson. I've had Rich Aronovich. I had Chuck Nice. I've had Mark DeMeo, Haley Boyle. I mean, I've had a lot of great comedians over the years. I feel like I've Tom Daddario, Michelle Ballin. Um, uh, um, I feel I've had Danny Cohen, my friend Danny Cohen, who was on my podcast, American Jew, last week. The last few weeks, Jonathan and I have been having guests on our podcast. So I had Danny Cohen on last week, and this week I have my friend Danny Lobel and
Oh, wow.
his wife Kylie, who converted to Judaism when they got together. And I just interviewed them today. They're gonna be on the podcast tomorrow. And Danny was on my very first year that we had the fundraiser. Um,
That's
uh,
amazing what you do to keep his memory alive. Like he is loved in this world and the next.
Well, I feel like it's really important that we keep his legacy going, and I feel like the thing that I like the most about it is that I get to talk about my brother every day, where the story doesn't end with his death. It is sort
Right.
of like a new beginning, and I get to talk about it in a positive way. It's not like all about the death, it's about what we do in spite of it. And I mean, I'm really lucky that my family had these I don't know, the resources and the skills to be able to put together what we do.
Right. That's amazing. No, it's really amazing. And hold on one second. Do you want me to see? Do you want me to try to tap in to see if he's here?
Who?
Your
Oh,
brother.
Russell. Sure.
I'm seeing. I'm just hearing. I'm so loved. I'm just hearing. Did he know in his life? He said he knows in his life he was loved, but the love just. I just keep hearing. I'm so loved. What they do to keep me alive. Um, would it make sense that he would say nothing but love?
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay. There's just an overwhelming amount of gratitude. It just the hairs on my arm are starting to stand up. Yeah, I don't really just an overwhelming amount of gratitude. Um, did the Knicks do something special for him when he died?
No.
Did anyone come to his funeral?
Well, I told you that. No, I don't. I don't think so. That was the bar mitzvah. I don't remember if anybody came to the funeral. I don't think so. I don't remember.
Okay. No, it's just that it's a feeling of like an overwhelming feeling of love. Like, and that also could be what I'm picking up from you also, that his life still means something in this world. And I think that that's where gratitude, hold on, his life still means something. And I think that's where the gratitude comes in. Um, yeah, it's very deep. I'm just feeling like a lot of it's a feeling and a sensation. It's just like an overwhelming amount of love and gratitude. Like, I believe he is in awe of what is done to keep his memory alive. Like, how many people, nobody, so many people don't have that. You know what I mean? People are just left with their grief. And you guys have turned, I mean, what you've done to help people, cope with their grief and continue to do, I mean, your whole relationship, I mean, like, you've done amazing things to keep his memory alive.
And I didn't have much of a choice.
It's just, it's overwhelming, you know?
Yeah.
It's overwhelming. Um, so
Well, this has been,
heavier topic.
yeah.
Sorry.
This has been enlightening, to say the least.
Um,
I think I've got to run pretty soon.
yeah, it's almost 11 here. We're on the same time zone, right? We're on both on Eastern time.
I don't even know what time it is, but I know that I gotta. We've been on for a while. I gotta.
Alrighty. So is there anything that you'd like to say in closing?
Well, I'd love people to subscribe to my podcast. Where's the Grief?
And how do they find the grief?
It's on Apple Podcasts. It's on Stitcher. I'm on Spotify. You can also just go to where'sthegrief.com. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Where's the Grief. And you can find my foundation, the Russell Ferber Foundation, in memory of my brother, Russell Ferber Foundation, on Instagram and Facebook as well. And russellferberfoundation.org is the website for that. And yeah, you can find me on Instagram. My personal Instagram is at Beatnik Nudnik, BeatnikNudnik.
And I think what I'm going to do, so you said the fundraiser for the Russell Ferber Foundation is coming up in June or July.
Well, it's usually the end of June. I haven't, as I said, we haven't figured out what we're doing yet. We're obviously, I think, scrapping the idea of doing the live event in June. So I'm working on figuring out what kind of virtual fundraiser we're going to be able to do, and whether or not we can get it together in time for June, and see if we can't, if it's possible to do an in-person fundraiser later in the fall. I don't know. I won't know for maybe another couple of weeks whether or not we're going to be able to put something together in June.
So what I would like to do, because I am just so moved by this, and
But yeah, we have a PayPal. You can donate to our fund, to our fund year round. There's a donate now link on the RussellFerberFoundation.org website, right on the front page. On every page of our website, there's a donate now button that you can click that takes you right to the PayPal that we have for our foundation, and you can donate year round there.
so what I would like to do when I upload this onto YouTube and then share it on Facebook is I'd like to start a fundraiser foundation.
Fantastic.
See if we can get people to open their hearts and most importantly, open their checkbooks because this is a legacy of a person who left the earth, but he's not gone. You know what I mean? His memory is very much alive. And I think that the money is going to such a good cause. Why don't you tell us one more time? Where is this money going to?
So our main beneficiary is we have a full 2-year scholarship in the Pastry and Baking Arts program at the Culinary Institute of America up in upstate New York. We actually just picked, I think our ninth scholar. It's a 2-year program, so we pick a new scholar every 2 years. I believe it's our ninth scholar that we just that just won the scholarship. My parents and I just had a conversation with her for the first time the other day, and very proud of her. And Leslie Villalva is her name. You can follow her on Instagram at it's Imperfect Paradox is her. But so yes, very exciting to be able to see all of these young kids too. To be able to stay in touch with them and keep our relationship with the kids that get these scholarships and follow their careers. And they often come to our events as well and bake up a storm. Many of them are, obviously they went to the CIA, which is they're the best bakers in the world. They know how to make the good shit. So
Right.
they do Russell proud, every one of them, rock stars in the culinary world. And it feels good to be able to pay it, to have Russell's legacy move forward in such a way that all these kids get to be the rock stars they were meant to be as well. Because Russell was truly like a rock star in his own right, and
Than life.
it's nice to know that he gets to share that passion with all these kids who, from what I can tell, also really understand the gravity of it for us. They stay in touch with us not just because we give them the scholarship, but we care about their careers and their futures, and it's heartwarming to have them be in our circle, and to be able to champion them. So
it's a beautiful thing what you guys are doing. It's really a beautiful thing. And I'm gonna personally make a donation.
I just feel so lucky that we get to do it. I know so many people that have lost siblings and family members that don't have the type of thing that we've done. I don't know what we would do without this event that we do every year. Now that we've done it for 15 years, it's hard to. I don't know how I would deal with shit. And so I just know I'm supremely lucky that me and my parents have this thing that we are able to do. And I don't take for granted for one moment the fact that it's a unique way that we get to honor my brother in that way.
It definitely is. And it's 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 overwhelming. It's really overwhelming. And like the words that come to me is like that he was larger than life.
Without
Um,
question. He
was
lived
he the
more. He lived more in 21 years than most people I know lived in a lifetime. So,
That's amazing. Well, listen, I want to say thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for sharing. And thank you so much for letting us all know who your brother is and what he was about and what his memory is living for to help people live his dream. And I think that's beautiful. I'm going to make a donation, and I'm going to start a fundraiser for this foundation because it's just so important. And I think that God bless you, brother. I don't know what to say. It's just amazing that you do this. It's just amazing that you do this. And can we shout out the organization one more time? Because this organization that
oh
you're,
yeah, the Compassionate Friends is one of the places that fucking saved my life. The CompassionateFriends.org as well. They have chapters all over the country. I mean, right now we're all on lockdown, but I've been doing my meetings on Zoom. It's for people that have lost a child, a grandchild, or a sibling, but it's also for other family members as well to support those people. And they have lots of closed Facebook groups for people that have lost people to various different things. So you can be in I'm in several different closed Facebook groups that are just for siblings. That whenever I need to vent about stuff or talk about my brother and talk about some of the stuff, the shit that I still deal with year after year in missing him, that I have a group that I can talk to that understands, that is there to support me, and that has gone through similar things and responds to stuff. So it's nice to have the Compassionate Friends in my corner. And the compassionatefriends.org, they have a chapter locator on their website, as well as a full list of all their Facebook groups as well. And they're, as they said, they're closed groups. All you have to do is, let them know that you want to join, and they'll ask you a handful of questions just to make sure that you're that it's the right group for you, and you'll be in there. And it's always good to have a community to vent to, about stuff that doesn't have any real answers.
Right, right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show tonight, and I hope that this gives people inspiration, and I hope this gives people, please donate to the Russell Ferber, I'm saying it right, Ferber, right?
Russell Ferber, yep, Russell Ferber Foundation.
Please donate to the Russell Ferber Foundation, and please, please, even if you can only give $10, even if you can only give $5, you guys, what these people are doing in the memory of their brother and son, helping other people go to have a scholarship to go to his culinary school.
And the event we do every year, as I say, it's a comedy show, so it's fun. I feel like you're like crying here, but I think it's a joyful thing that we're talking about. I know, I see, but I'm just saying.
Telling you, his energy is larger than life.
If you go to the website or our Facebook page, I've got lots of pictures of all of our past events. You can see how much fun it is. My whole family comes together. It's so great. It's like one of my friends says that it's like a big bar mitzvah for me every year, because it's like my whole fucking life of people that come together, and it's just a beautiful thing that in his memory. And I'm trying to figure out putting together a video for the 15th year that we put together out virtually this year, I guess, but we'll see what happens.
And please send me all of the links, so when I post this video to Facebook, people don't have, you know what I mean? It's right there for them to click. Yeah. You guys, whether you can give a small donation of $5, $10, $18, or whether you can give very generously, I ask you to please give something to the Russell Ferber Foundation. And
thank you so much. And at some point, I'd love to have you. Obviously, maybe you got to come on Jonathan and my podcast eventually. Now we're going to have you on the podcast.
Well, I mean, I don't matchmake anymore.
No, but we'll have to. At least I feel like it will be fun to have you on the show, just as a guest, as an American Jew that can come on the show, and we'll have some fun. Kind of making fun of the having tried to get you on as a matchmaker.
That's hilarious. I would love to. Please let me know. I'm down. Time. And thank you again. I'm just sending you so much love and light, and may this fundraiser be the most successful yet. Please, people, give generously. And the bereavement group, do they take donations?
Yes, the Compassionate Friends also takes donations. If you go to their website, compassionatefriends.org, I'm sure they have a place where you can donate directly to them as well.
Okay. Yeah, send me if you don't mind, send me all of those links, so when people go to YouTube or when people see the video on Facebook, that it's just idiot proof for them. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yep.
So, all right. Well, it was great to spend time with you. It was great to get to smoke with you a little for the first time, finally.
Yeah, finally.
Have a wonderful night, and thanks so much for being on Hopeful Wisdom. And for those of you who watch Hopeful Wisdom, please be sure to like, share, and smash that subscribe button so your girl can get paid. All right.
L'chaim, everybody.
Have a wonderful night. Shabbat Shalom. Wishing everyone just nothing but peace, love, and blessings. God bless. Take care. Peace. Take care.